All right, hello, boys and girls. I'm Mike Kelly from Animators Forum, among many other places. Real Illusion Forum. Anyway, I wanted to do this for that guy who's trying to put together a superhero, and I've spent far too much time doing other things, and I'm not sure when I'm going to get around to it. So let's do what I have done, and then we'll show you. This is the superhero. This is Toon Super Guy suit. I use this. There's a lot of different suits out there from Daz that you can use. This one's one of the better ones, I think. But there's a lot of different ones. But the general ideas that I'm going to show you will work with almost any of them. I just wanted to show you some general ideas. So first of all, I'm going to do is I'm going to export this as FBX. So we go in. We've done this before. We go export and FBX, and I'm going to call it the name, Toon Super Guy suit. However, one thing I want to show you is when we export this, we want some of these morphs to come in. And I've talked about this too, but this is a good place to kind of sum it all up. I'd like to have, for example, the boots expand available, that morph. So we click on here, parameter settings, and there's the name of it, FBM expand. So if I export everything that's FBM, it'll have all of those extra morphs, and FBM is a common one. So if I go in here, export, and again, go to the Toon Super Guy and save that. And yes, it's already there. And I'm going to go edit morph rules. And so FBM, anything that starts off with FBM, and will export. So I want to do that in there. So this is what I've already done. I'm not going to go through how long this takes because it takes a little bit of time. And then we come into Character Creator, and we're going to come into Toon Super Guy suit, open it up, bring it in. And the other thing I should mention too to those of you, this is kind of the summation of importing and things using. This guy wants to make tunes out of this. We always want to use basic. The only time we want to use advanced is if the skin texture needs to come in, which we don't need to have. So we'll bring in the basic, and there's all the different items that we want to have. So that's fine. Bring those in. And what I started to say is, even though this guy's going to use this as a tune, we're going to save the uniform or the basic super costume. And then we can apply it to anything, including tune shapes. So we don't really have to worry about the target shape for it. We're going to eventually get that target. So we load in the stuff here, and it comes in slowly but surely. And don't call me Shirley. And this is going to come in with the textures as supplied. And what we're going to do is we're going to show you how to edit some textures to make it look more appropriate to what you're doing. So we go here, and if you notice the chest area here, this is the base color of this chest. And it hasn't got any bump maps, which is good. For cartoons, you really don't need bump maps. But if you wanted to generate bump maps, you'd have to do that yourself. So the first thing we're going to do for the texture base color is we're going to go to Launch. And this is going to launch your text editor, whichever editor you your image editor, whichever editor you have installed. I have Photoshop installed, which is good. And brings this up. And then in the other thing I'm going to do, because I saved this, I have to go in here to my recycle bin. Hang on just one second. I have to open up my recycle bin because I export. Are you okay? Export my wife is just sneezing up a storm in there. I think she's allergic to me. We have to bring up this icon that will. No, that's all right. I just want to make sure you're all right. I just want to. Where is this icon? I think it's this image here. Let's see if I can open this up here. Oh yeah, that's right. First, got to restore it first. Then we'll go here to downloads and bring that up, and that is it. Okay, so I'm doing this in the background, but hang in there. I'm going to open this with Photoshop. This is this bee texture that this guy wanted to have. So I'm going to copy this and bring it over to here and paste it. And you can see where it needs to go. This is the front of the suit right here. So I'm going to bring this bee over to the front of the suit. And then I'm going to free transform. So if I hold down the shift key, that keeps it proportional to where it is. And I'm going to kind of put it right there in the middle. That looks pretty good for now, wherever you want it to. I'm putting the decal. And then this is the, not where I want the background then to be whatever color I want for that background. So I turn off the foreground. So I got to say yes first. Say yes to the B. There. And then I'm going to edit and fill the background with that. Black is fine. And then I'm going to just quick export this as a JPEG PNG, PNG, just save that out there. And there we have it. So then we just do this and bring up that PNG, and now we've got that. So that's how you can get the textures and the colors. And I could have filled that with whatever color we want. And basically, we're going to do that for all this stuff. I want to show you one more thing, though, quick. I'm not going to do it all that he has. He has like the top of the boots with a white outline on them. So the two things I wanted to show you is, well, actually, let me do that. We'll go in here and we'll open up this this boot texture, and you can see there's kind of a foot texture here and a boot, and I'm not really sure where all the textures go. So when I'm kind of unsure about textures, what I do is I fill them with gradients, and that kind of tells me where everything is. So, and I've done this on hair. I've shown people how to do this. I've shown you guys how to do this on hair, but we're going to do it here on boots just to show you how we might go about doing this. So I'm going to just fill these with various gradients to give an idea of where all these textures are actually located on the actual person, if that makes sense to you. So do that. And one more, we'll come down here and do this last texture. And again, what we're doing is we're just outlining some basic areas here, because I have a feeling that these areas are going to be what we're going to be using for to color this guy's boot. And then I'm going to quickly export this. It's a JPEG or PNG. I'm sorry, PNG. Just downloads again. Do that. Bring here, and then if I go into the boot texture and bring that boot texture up in here, you'll see that it gives me the places where those textures would have been put. So what I can see is that if I want this white, the top of the boot to have this white thing, then what I need to use is this gradient up here, this kind of interesting gradient that I did. So that's just kind of a way of mapping something. It lets you know where textures are. So I know that this part should be white. So if I come in here, and I think that's what he had, is a kind of a white boot top, that sort of thing. So if I edit and I fill this with white, and that's fine, and then I can select the inverse. And again, I don't remember his exact color scheme, but whatever his color scheme is, we can use that color scheme. And so in this particular case, I'm just going to make it black and white so you can see, but you can do whatever color scheme you wanted to do. And again, export that as PNG into here, do that. Yes, replace that. Come in here, load this up, load the replacement up. And there we go. So that's basically what he wanted to have, was a white mark on that. And you do exactly the same thing on the gloves. Same process as you would go there and color the gloves in the way you want. Now, the other thing I wanted to show you about the gloves is, because they have those morphs that remember we talked about having the morphs, I can adjust the gloves and, well, those aren't gloves. Hang on, let me go to the gloves. There. Gloves. And we can expand them. So a lot of times people have the wrist. I noticed this SuperHero had the expansion on those gloves, so we have those morphs in there, so we can do that. And the last thing he would need to do on his prop is we need to put weight maps on this cape. So we go to the cape, go here to the weight map, and again we bring this into our editor, always using our editor for all these things, and we just draw the weight maps. You've seen that we do this with hair, but those of you that haven't seen hair, this is how we do weight maps. Just do this and draw that in there about like that. That looks good. And then select the inverse, and we fill that with black, and then we export that. Export as PNG. Put that in downloads again, main cape, down there. No, get out of this. We're all done with this. Don't have to do anything else. And bring in that cape weight map, and then that will weight map the physics for this cape. We don't have to worry about the fasteners, leave those alone. And basically we're done. I mean, we want to finish both boots, and we want to finish the gloves and his other costuming, but that's essentially how you can take a costume. And then once you have this costume, once we have this to where we want it, then we can go ahead and save it. So we go ahead and go down here to the plus sign and save this as Toon Super Hero. Obviously it's not finished yet, but that would be basically the idea. And then what we could do is we could load in a Toon character, or actually we could even do this here. We could actually go into the morphs here and find the Toon the Toon morphs, but essentially the same way. You could make this guy into any kind of Toon guy. So and then he'd be wearing the super suit. So there's an old Toon guy in the super suit, or maybe a Toon male teenager. I mean, I got all kinds of Toons because I like the Toon stuff. Those are the stuff I've got from Daz. And then I bought the cartoon characters from Real Illusions. So there's those guys. And then of course remember that you have the ability to mix and match stuff. So you can come in here to head, and you can make a cartoon superhero head, cartoon head there. There's a head, and then you can also go to body, and you don't necessarily have to use a Toon body. You can do any kind of body you want. So maybe like I don't know, some kind of that's kind of silly, but some kind of a superhero body. There we go. Okay, essentially that's it. And the one thing you might notice is the cape's reacting a little bit to that. It won't react once we get it into iClone and we have the physics for it. We also might want to have it refitted, so you might have to come in and conform here, because sometimes like this, I could hide those. You could go ahead and edit mesh and hide the underlying mesh, or you can go to conform. Either way, it's it's 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. A lot of times you're going to want to conform it, but you're also still going to hide the edit the mesh underneath it and hide the faces. See, there's still some faces showing here. So my go-to response here is to basically go ahead and hide the meshes anyway. So I would go here and hide all that stuff underneath, and there you go. So anyway, hopefully this answers a whole bunch of questions on how to make a superhero out of a simple Daz super costume. There's a couple other things for his particular needs. He's got a very odd helmet that's, I don't know how to get around that. He's going to probably have to sculpt that himself in Blender. That may take a while. That's going to take artistic talent way above my pay grade. He also needs a belt, a superhero belt. There's a number of superhero belts out there. You'd want to find one that was comparable to your needs, but essentially that's how to make a superhero out of the simple superhero costume and alter it to make it look like you want to. So hopefully this helps, and we will see you around the forums.